Right, ladies and gentlemen, we've got big breaking news today. Putin deploys Belgorod nuclear tsunami sub system, which carries the Poseidon nuclear-tipped torpedo. It has gone missing. This is the real Red October. You probably remember the movie. In the Arctic with up to 100 megaton warhead that could possibly generate a 1,700-foot tsunami towards the U.S. coastline. This is a major development, and the reason I report this is we're not really getting a lot of this in the news, is of course we just had a very dangerous missile launched over Tokyo, Japan, just yesterday, which was pretty much covered up by the mainstream media. You can search it now. You'll find it on the BBC, CNN, Fox News, Reuters, AP News, as I reported yesterday. But this is a significant escalation in the proxy World War III event that is Ukraine that will definitely lead to an all-out conflict. And we're also getting reports that the West and Zelensky himself says that they will not negotiate with Vladimir Putin unless he is deposed, unless they get rid of him. And so this very much is an existential threat on Russia that I believe Putin will take very, very seriously. So let's get into this story and more. And by the way, we've got a huge pump on Wall Street today on the news that the Federal Reserve will be backtracking the quantitative tightening and eventually cutting rates. And as I warned, furthering the infinite bailouts and money printing, which only guarantees a hyperinflationary collapse, much like we're seeing all over the world. In fact, there was a stunning report earlier today that in Lebanon, let's pray for the people of Lebanon, which are currently experiencing a currency war and a bank run. Capital controls having been instituted and they cannot get their money. So I'm reading numerous reports of people in Lebanon right now, and I think this will spread eventually all over the world, where they have accounts, say $100,000 at the bank, and they're only allowed to withdraw $1,000. And I'll get to some of those details in a minute. Putin deploys Belgorod nuclear sub. It's gone missing, which carries the Poseidon nuclear torpedo with up to 100 megaton warhead, generating a 1,700-foot tsunami. This has significant range, and it is deployed out of the Arctic and is now officially gone missing, according to U.S. and Western intelligence. Please like and share this and get it out, of course, 1,000x, ladies and gentlemen. Now, this carries the Poseidon underwater drone capable of unleashing radioactive tsunamis which lay waste to enemy coastlines. Now, it has been suspected that even if Putin does not deploy this on a U.S. coastline, that he could possibly test this in hotly contested international waters as a show of strength. You probably remember that Donald Trump dropped a very large bomb in the Middle East when he first became president of the United States. And in fact, we were very close to nuclear war when that happened, in my opinion. I remember bugging out up into the mountains of Arizona during that time, just on the instinct that things were about to go awry. And that was a sign, as Trump was very decisive in his power when he became president of the United States. Now, we have to keep in mind, Sleepy Joe, which is pretty much like the grandpa of The Simpsons, you know, he's a bumbling, would have to respond within 10 minutes of any kind of nuclear event launched against the United States to defend the homeland. That's how much time we have, based on the simulations that you can look up yourself, to respond to any type of these events. Now, it's important to note I'm not the one saying this, because I get accused of this a lot. Like, Christopher, Why are you telling us about these horrible events? I'm not the one telling you about these horrible events. It's international bodies, leaders, and governments warning you that it's worse than the Cold War, warning you of nukes. It's Zelensky, a former actor, who's telling you he will not negotiate with Putin unless he's disposed of. Okay, unless they install a new leader, which is a direct threat, an existential threat to Russia. Now, Elon Musk actually weighed in on this. He says that Russia should hold on to the Crimean Peninsula and have water rights. And then he suggested that the rest of Ukraine should be put up to a vote, of which I think he said the UN would oversee. And so there would be a revote, which I don't think Russia's going to like that. But even Elon Musk is warning, and I retweeted this, of possible nuclear war. So again, all the people that the masses tune into, the brainwashed masses, the mainstream media, tech leaders like Elon Musk, all these people, technologists, are all saying the same thing. We are on the precipice of nuclear fallout. So it's not me. Don't get your panties all in a bunch. Okay, I'm not the one saying this. I didn't shut down the world over the last couple of years. They did. I've just warned about it and told you to get ready. So Vladimir Putin's nuke sub has now gone missing. It's carrying its latest doomsday weapon, NATO is warning. The Belgorod has disappeared from its home base in the Arctic Circle and may be on its way to the Kara Sea to test the Poseidon nuke. A NATO warning note leaked to the Italian media over the weekend has suggested Poseidon is a drone that is said to be capable of traveling huge distances underwater before detonating with enough force to trigger a 1,600-foot nuclear tsunami designed to drown and irradiate coastal cities. Now, it's important to note this is 100x, 100 times the atomic weapons used on Nagasaki and Hiroshima to end World War II, dropped by the United States government, the only government to ever use nuclear arms and weapons on civilian populations. Mic drop. And I'm not saying that didn't end the war, but it is the truth. Again, it's the United States that dropped chemical warfare weapons on the Viet Cong during Vietnam. No other country has done that. So this is very serious. That's a development that I'm watching. Also, too, it's important to note with the sanctions that the West has implemented against Russia, and now, of course, the convenient timing of the blow-up of both Nord Stream 1 and 2, not only are Europeans set to freeze this very harsh winter and their bills set to skyrocket, but European nations are actually reverting now, this is hilarious, to very dirty, carbon-emitting, planetary-destroying coal, which I told you that they would do. So now that they've implemented the sanctions, Eurozone climaters are actually going to burn more dirty fossil fuels, destroying the planet, in their own words, even more. Because again, you've got to keep in mind that this whole sustainability only works if every country is hunky-dory working with each other, not during a World War III conflict of which Russia faces an existential threat, and there's ongoing sanctions and disruptions to energy usage, which is exactly what they want. So everything breaks down. Same thing with electric cars. I was joking, Musk, since he's the peacekeeper, who, by the way, says he's now going to buy Twitter, which makes perfect sense because, of course, I've said for some time he needs the human conscious AI to integrate that algorithm with the chip that he's implanting in people's brains with Neuralink. So he needs that code that's then going to connect to the hive mind and all the satellites in the sky. that he's placed there with SpaceX that sends down frequencies to the Earth as they integrate human beings in a transhuman merger that I would only call the mark of the beast. Mic drop. But why doesn't he just send Optimus, the robot that looked incredibly pathetic as he released last Friday, have it drive a self-driving car into Ukraine, move to a charging station, charge for an hour, and then dig underground with his boring company to enemy bases in Ukraine? I just thought that was kind of funny. So you need to understand, ladies and gentlemen, they've already integrated biologically with machines. I've said this for years. This isn't new. The technology has already been tested. Also, too, high likelihood that the vampire rises from the grave and Hillary Clinton will be running again in 2024 in a dramatic WWE showdown that could only be portrayed as a Hollywood fake film versus Donald Trump. So that'll be interesting. So these are very, very significant updates. It's also important to note that North Korea, which fired the missile into the ocean over Tokyo, of which the Japanese government announced an emergency and had everyone seek shelter, and had alarms going off all over the country yesterday, sending everyone into a tizzy of fear, is a proxy for the World War III event. So Kim Jong-un, XI, Mr. Z, and Putin and Z, they all working together. Okay, so I think we already know all this. But these are very significant escalations, ladies and gentlemen. Also, trust the plan. Natural gas contracts for November hit 66666 today. And that ain't a coincidence or a quinky dinky. The beast is in full charge of the natural gas contracts here around the world, specifically affecting Ukraine. Yes, these are demons. As the natural gas contracts hit 66666 today. Like, again, you can't even make this stuff up, ladies and gentlemen. Also, it's important to note that the missile launch yesterday, which was the longest range, arguably, that North Korea has ever fired, exemplifying that it would be very easy for them to hit bases of the United States like Guam or other parts of the Pacific very easily. Now, again, we've talked about this. Like, people ask this question. I had thought about this years ago through my strategic relocation study and analysis. So, for example, Joel Skousen has gotten a lot wrong about strategic relocation. He never suggested that the whole world would be shut down. So a lot of the advice, although it's good advice and I like Joel a lot, he's a smart guy, never accounted for a worldwide global shutdown. A lot of it he's gotten wrong. See, I've already taken into account who's in charge of the Pacific and already knew and understood these truths years ago. Okay, who's in charge and largely already taken control of all these areas. I'm actually more concerned about the mainland than I am any surrounding islands, Hawaii, Guam, South Pacific, Australia, New Zealand. Those are the safe havens. See, I thought about this all the way in advance. People are so late to the party. It's unbelievable. It's the mainland, okay, that should be under the most scrutiny and I believe is at the greatest risk in the future. Hawaii is going to be the safest place, actually. That's why all the billionaires, all the technologists are here. All the money's moving here. It's why I'm here, because I knew this years ago. It's the cities and it's the mainland that will be the worst off in the coming conflict. This has largely already been decided out here in the Pacific, North and South Pacifics. And you'll understand this if you've done any traveling through Asia like I have. I knew this years ago, before the shutdowns and everything happened over the last couple of years, way ahead of the curve. Because I get a lot of snarky comments where people will say things like, well, Christopher, how's your island project going to fare? Perfectly. People are going to continue to panic buy into it. And by the way, Hawaii isn't our only location. We're diversifying geolocationally around the world. We're in the safest part of the world you can be in. You know, I'm hanging here with the Bezos, the Zuckerbergs, the Ellisons, and the Teals, which are all hunkered down here along with myself in our bunkers preparing for what's going to happen next. It's the American people that don't understand what's going to come next. So these are major developments, ladies and gentlemen. I believe that Putin will defend himself, rightfully so. If the United States is aiming to dissolve Russia and Putin's leadership and the leadership of the oligarchs, Putin's probably going to act. So, for example, there's an article today that says Putin deposed, Russia broken up, and NATO in a face-off with China as Ukraine sees a path toward victory and a desperate Vladimir Putin hits the panic button. Expert argues this is how the war could end. So they're now admitting that we're at war with China, which of course that's obvious, but they're trying to create this narrative that Putin's going to act emotionally by, you know, who knows, firing this drone from this nuclear sub, which is the real Red October, or doing something else in Ukraine with a tactical event, Nuke, so that they can basically just further their agenda, right? Like, lives have only not improved as a result of everything leadership has done in the westernized world. Europe's going to freeze. America's in hyperinflation. We've got to revert back to dirty coal and petrol, which I see nothing wrong with that at all, by the way. I'll never own an electric vehicle. This is why I own 14 Jeeps, so that they off-road with their gasoline engines and basically tower, okay, and monster truck over all the other cars in the road. That's why I've lifted a lot of them as well. So we can run right over the faces of all these electrics that will be in a standstill during an economic grid down scenario. Mad Max, apocalypse. So anyways, guys, I'm having a little fun today as well, but this really is the truth of where we stand. Currency wars, guaranteed depression, guaranteed World War III, fake pump in the stock market, which is temporary, which is only pricing in the collapse of the US dollar, a dirty fiat currency, which is absolute hideous trash. This is a temporary shock to the system before the unraveling of the worst 1929 economic depression that you've ever seen in your life. So this is a little, head fake before the big one. See if there's anything else I should be reporting on today. I'm going to be doing more content at school, of course. I'm going to put together, and I'm working on now, it's in production, a groundbreaking video on how to prepare, on how to get ready, ladies and gentlemen, for the worst case scenario, how to profit from it. I do want to welcome you. I'll probably take some questions here. I'm having fun today. Take some questions from you guys. Also read out some names. This is part of the Island Project Club community. Make sure you get in. I'll include links. Or don't. I get so many comments. People are like, Christopher, if I would have listened to you about Bitcoin under 1,000, I'd be rich. Yeah, you would. You should have listened. Just like you should get into the club, and just like you should buy Island Project, and just like you should be buying Bitcoin today. You could be rich. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. And that's your fault if you're not. I mean, the last bull market was so crazy. People were turning $1,000 investments to $1 million. People getting rich on Decentraland and the metaverse and NFTs. A lot of you, I would argue, missed that, right? I didn't. No, we profited 1,000x on those trends and on that bull cycle, which is going to come again. I want to welcome Jones Ryan, Doc Gregory, Georgetown, Ontario, I believe, just joined the private academy and also the Island Project Club with the $1,500 minimum. God bless you. Also have BN Life at Yahoo. just joined from Harbor City, California, the Island Project Club, getting ready. Fountain Tricia from Washington just joined the Island Project Club Access 1000X Early Bird. From Portage La Prairie, Melbourne, I believe that is. Also have Harold Lisa 780 just joined. Out of Los Angeles, California, welcome. It's an honor and pleasure to serve you. F.A.V. Daisy Oquindo from Tequig, I don't know if that's Mexico, just joined the Island Project Club, came in with 2,500 early bird access. And R.U. Baroy 88 just joined from Berwyn, Illinois. So I'm not going to do a whole lot with the unabashed pitch today, but I will show you, and we are running out of spots. I just spoke with Elizabeth in Melbourne, I believe, yesterday, and she's coming in. She just came into the private placement. I've had a lot of people upgrade from club into the private placement recently, so that's awesome. That's awesome. Because once you see what you're going to get, everyone always upgrades. But here, just so you guys can see this, here's the Island Project Club access. There's me. Get in. I got a few spots left. You can reserve it with just $1 reservation for the pre-order, and you can select your amount, 1,500, 2,500, and I'll give you a call, 3,000, whatever it is. Okay, and this will give you the first mover advantage here, of course. Learning outside of the banks, consult, all of our content, everything that we're doing on the ground and more. Fractionalizing real estate with myself and my team. 1000Xing, of course, the first multi-billion-dollar blockchain in the world. And yeah, I need to make a call back to actually one of our members. What's up, Brad? You're my boy, dude. You're my boy, Blue. Brad's the one that took me out hunting, which I've been getting into lately. You see, I'm dressed in all camo today. But he's got his eye out for some land too in places like Montana, because we're going to be buying out a lot of these locations very strategically, creating a web so you've got options. Because again, when the grid goes down and American sovereignty in the westernized world collapses, the only sovereignty left, which is currently where we are the alternative inroads and communities and infrastructures that we are building together. That's what's so amazing about it. There's a strength in numbers. Cash flows, large capital gains appreciation, tokenization intent to 1000X to the freaking moon. I mean, beautiful. All right, I can go to some questions now as well. Links down here and up here. And again, I always ask the question when I'm talking to people on the phone. I always ask, I'm like, well, how many of the founders that you invest in, Bob, or whoever I'm talking to, is do you know and have access to and speak to? And you know what they say every single time? No, none. And I go, yeah, see the difference? See the difference? So when you become a founder of Island Project and you become a member of the club, you and I become family. And my audience, you already are my family, even if you're not a part of the club, obviously, or the placement, or you can't afford it. Everyone here at AMTV is family. But see, there's a difference on how we operate. You know, you see Americans dump trillions of dollars into these boring ass REITs, or you see them dump worthless dollars into fake hyperpump stocks, which are just pieces of paper, when you could be a part of a community outside of the banks with no debt that actually owns real estate, hard assets, which is a leveraged position with the blockchain technology that I'm implementing. I mean, this is an amazing thing during a debt collapse where the Lebanese people can't even get their money out of the bank because bank runs have commenced. And this is going to happen all over. They're going to say that you're all in it together when they close your bank accounts. So you need to diversify. You got to get out. You got to get into tangibles, ladies and gentlemen. I've been saying this for a very long time. Yes, Fardato, I do believe that a nuke will go off. Yes, I do. And I think it'll probably be tactical, or Putin, probably within the next 48 hours, could come from his nuke sub, as is the title of this video that's gone missing. he's going to do a show of force. He already launched hypersonics at Ukraine. They just weren't nuclear tipped in the early stages of the war. So he's going to show some kind of dramatic show of force soon. Expect that. Expect that. So, you know, Zelensky, I would argue, is causing World War III. This guy wants World War III. This actor, who's not a member of NATO, okay, there's no reason why we got to defend Ukraine. They're not NATO, dude. Okay, so all your taxpayer dollars, the 70 plus billion, in fact, if you've got a Ukraine flag, you should go fight the front lines. I'm not going to be there. I'm going to stand here and defend America. You understand? Okay, this actor over here is potentially drawing you into a nuclear war event. See with his little frilly hat? This dude. He ain't NATO, dude. And we don't owe you nothing, honey. You understand? We don't owe you nothing. So I will not be fighting to defend Ukrainian freedom. The American people need to defend America first. That's right, John. Yeah, so Richard, welcome. Recognize you, brother. So I'm not defending Putin, and I don't defend Russia. What I want is peace. I want people to understand what's really coming. This is just one big hoodwink for control, for the reset, for the collapse. Someone asked, why are we over there? To start a world war, bro. That's why we're there. They'll blame Putin on it. Dude, Putin ain't going to go out without a fight. You think he's going to allow himself to be deposed? I want to do that. He is very likely to show force very soon. North Korea can fire a hypersonic at this point way out into the Pacific Ocean, for crying out loud. So you don't think Putin can show their force? They have nothing to lose. This is an existential threat. And whether or not it's me, Elon Musk, your politicians or the media telling you, we are nearing 12 o'clock midnight right now. Right now. And it ain't going to be pretty. Read a few more of your names out here to reward you guys. Had Kathy M. just joined. Island Project Club, God bless you. Can't wait to speak with you. Jesus Heals Me, like that name, Westerville, Ohio. Just joined the club, 1,500. Just got in. Again, guys, these are tools for your success. I say all the time, if I don't know you, I can't cash flow you, bro. You know, you're paying for access to me too. I don't got all the time in the world. When you're a part of the club, you got access to me and my team. You're able to talk to me. You're able to ask me any questions you have. I'm able to help you prepare. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. So I don't say that, you know, I say that with humility. I'm just saying that, like, time is short. And I hear this all the time. Like, I had another gentleman come in with $150,000 into the placement recently. And he was like, Christopher, I should have listened to you years ago, but I am now, and I'm paying attention. I'd be a lot wealthier. And he's already made a lot of money in crypto based on our coursework and stuff, because he was in, 5 years ago. He just said, I should have taken more of the advice. I should have gone in more. I should have been tuned in even more, but now I am. So it's an incredible community. And people ask me too, what's the average people are coming in? We've got ranges from about 150 to 300K. I would say is about like average, 250, average of the private placement. And then I set a minimum of 30 for the private placement so that everybody can try to get in. We have to set a limit for our offering because it's private. It's only for our private members. It's not public solicitation or investment or anything like that. We filed, we're a Reg D offering, very plain vanilla, crossed all the T's, dot all the I's. Of course, I've got Fighting the BS from Riceville, Tennessee. Love Tennessee. Yeah, so at some point our island project blockchain itself, when we tokenize, which all the founders are going to be rewarded. See, they get the best pricing. And then they own the portfolio itself already. So everybody that owns units in the founders round owns the asset. They just own real estate, which is awesome. So you've got an underlying investment that could go 3, 5, 10x our aggregate portfolio, plus the tokenization, which they get rewarded at the special pricing. That's my intent, not financial advice. So they got the best of both worlds, but this blockchain entity that we're building isn't going to go out and gobble up, okay, other locations. It's going to be the liquidity vehicle that is basically the freedom vehicle to do all these incredible things and provide liquidity for everything that we need. Pretty cool. Should be over in Oahu very soon. I'm going to give you guys a tour of that new listing that I just picked up, the $6 million beachfront place on the North Shore. It's near like really cool surfing spots and stuff too. So I'm going to put that up on camera, show you guys that. And I do have a couple parcels of land. I'll be touring you guys up country very, very soon as well. Let us know if we can help you too, by the way, links below. If you're buying or selling real estate and you need help with that, reach out to my team. I've got links below, phone number, you can reach out, speak to any of us. I've got my dad down there as well. Great resource. So if you need help buying or selling in Maui Boo, out here in beautiful Maui and or Oahu, let us know. We can certainly help you. I got the best marketing team and reach in the world, and we basically smoke all these dinosaur real estate agents out there that are just a dime a dozen commodity, quite frankly. So if you want to work with the best, work with us. All right, we got Clay, NC, Durham, North Carolina, just joined as well. All right, I'll take some questions. I'm about 30 minutes in. God bless all of you. Sure is amazing having you all here. Yep, Margaret, Maui is lovely. Amber says she's got land in Georgia. That's cool. I've actually never been to Georgia, but I think I'd probably like it. Are these Gucci glasses? No, these are Diamond Nuts 1000X Cartiers, and they're custom. See, I have bad eyes, so I have to have my glasses custom made. So I had Cartier make a custom sunglass for me. Is the donut in on the island? Donut's in everything, dude. Donut's got his hand in everything. This guy's 1000X in everything. Have you seen his channel, dude? Of course Donut's in Island Project, man. He's the first guy I saved the spot. How do I keep going? Well, I always ask myself the question, what if? When things get tough, right? You're in the foxhole. Let's say you're on the front lines of the new Ukraine World War. All these people holding their flags up in America when they draft you and send you to the war. Maybe you're in the pit or something like that. I always ask the question, what if? What if I could pull it off? What if I could accomplish whatever goal I've set out? When things get tough, you've got the sweat rolling down your face, or I'm climbing the mountain physically with my body and my brain. I always ask, what if? If my body's failing, maybe my kidneys are shutting down and I'm bleeding, and I only have a few more miles to run to win the race, I ask, what if I could pull it off? What if? You see, when you change your mindset to the 1000X Diamond Nuts, okay, and you start asking questions like, what if? What if you could do this? What if you could make your first $1,000 in additional income this month? What if you could create your first 10X situation? What if you could start that new business and crush it this year, 6 figures? What if you took your island project, private placement, and then 1000X that with us? What if? What if you ask that hot chick out and you marry her? What if? When you start changing and rephrasing the brainwashing and you revert outside of the system, you evaporate outside of the system and you live your dream. So always ask the question, what if when things get hard? What if you can pull it off? What if you can achieve great things? What if? You see, David asked that. Probably, I'm assuming, when he took down Goliath. He said, what if this little slingshot and these 4 or 5 pebbles could take down Goliath? What if? And then he also believed that God would help him. That's the secret. To the freaking moon. Yeah, so the islands are the safest place to be geolocationally. in this upcoming conflict. Again, China and Asia has largely already taken over much of the Pacific. So all this has already been decided. All the land grabs and all these kinds of things. What we're doing with the Island Project is building a physical network and a digital tokenized community that owns the actual hard asset real estate, but all over the world. We're the new America. See, we don't need sovereign countries or sovereign nation states to support us. I don't need a bailout, okay? I don't need any of these things that governments provide. We're just building our own networks outside of the system, which is the future of the new digital economies. It's the future of blockchain. It's the future of being outside in a parallel economy of like minds. See, we've got to build alternatives, and we're going to get rich while we do it. That's what's cool about it. No, I don't. No, I don't. I believe that the islands are the safest place. That's why everyone's here, dude. Why do you think Bezos, Thiel, even Musk was out here in Kahului recently, Ellison, Zuckerberg? You think they're all here because they're stupid? Well, you think I'm stupid too? Like, we're here because we already know. I take my own advice. Well, all the billionaires are already ready. That's why they're in the Pacific. They're in the North and South Pacifics. These are the safest places to be. Now, Hawaii's very safe because if you look at it, Puerto Rico, for example, always has these 100-year storms. They're always getting torrential hurricanes and rains and power is going out. That never happens here in Hawaii. In fact, Maui is so sheltered by the Big Island that anytime a storm comes in, it's only rained on where I live literally like 5 times in the last 3 years. Like, it doesn't even rain where I live. Like, everything gets broken up by the Big Island first. Kauai can get hit a little bit harder, but we don't get these torrential 500-year storms like Florida. Every week, Florida has a natural disaster. Every month, Puerto Rico. This is why I'm here in Hawaii. Yes, there's a lot more tax advantages going to Puerto Rico, but it's not worth it. You literally have to call up your private jet like every year to escape the 500-year torrential storm. So why would you want to be there without power? It just makes no sense. Hawaii's extremely safe. We also have a huge sphere of influence in Asia. Of course, the Japanese wanted Hawaii. That's why we went to war over it. Asia, likes it over here. But my point is that from Singapore on, which is largely Chinese controlled, all the way out here to the Pacific, and especially New Zealand, Australia, and Canada are already largely been predetermined and controlled by the Chinese empire. So these are the safest places to be. During what the last 2 years was, this was the safest place to be. There was no one even here. You could just go out on the beach and open up a Corona and you were just by yourself enjoying the beauty. Everything was fine. Just do anything you want. It was the cities that sucked. It was mainland USA. And it was terrible in Canada, Australia, New Zealand. And then we had a couple bright spots that were stress tested, like I would say Arizona, my home state, and Florida stand out as like the best states in America in terms of freedom. Yeah, so that was a story that I missed, actually. Let me take a look at that. But the U.S. actually just war gamed with South Korea. Let's see that. Let's see if another missile was just fired. One of these days, I'm going to be on camera with you, and one of the nukes is going to go off while we're live. Well, won't that be crazy? People will still be telling me it's not going to happen while it happens. Yeah, so this is Barron's. U.S. South Korea conduct precision bombing drill after the North Korea missile launched. And so I was aware of that, but is there a new event? Let me go to Twitter, because usually Twitter's the best source of this. And notice that the U.S. media downplayed the missile launch yesterday. They didn't really want you to know about it. Someone said, well, the missile was headed to Hawaii. What do you think, I'm scared? I ain't scared of nothing, dude. The only thing I kneel for is Jesus. And I'm telling you, Hawaii's the safest place. That's why I'm here, the billionaires are here. We're in the safest place in the world right here. Mainland U.S. is what you want to be worried about. People always think they're so snarky. Like, oh, Chris hasn't thought. No, I thought about it 10 years ago, dude. And I road mapped it 5 years ago. And then I got out of the cities 3 years ago because I told you what was going to happen. I mean, you reach a certain point, you just leave everything behind and you go follow your own advice. Just like when I bought Bitcoin under $1,000 and got rich off Bitcoin. I just take my own advice. It doesn't make me perfect. I'm not saying I'm the, greatest person in the world or anything. I'm just saying that I take my own advice and prosper because of it. And my students do too. Yeah, I think in terms of Jesus coming back, obviously no man knows the day or hour, and I pray he comes back right now. But I think that we're going to go through a lot more pain and suffering and birth pangs, destruction. I think Christians will be continued to be persecuted. I think it's just like the last couple of years. I mean, you had to stand up for yourself, right? So we've seen nothing yet. The last couple of years were easy, man. All you had to do is be like, no. That's what I did. I'm like, hey, you should do this. I'm like, no, I'll pass. That's all you had to do. But people just submitted. So you've seen nothing yet. Nothing yet. So I think it's going to get much more difficult. You just have to be strong. Don't be a wanker. Biden says he is going to run again, too. I don't know if that's true. So inflation can't be stopped. I mean, we've talked about that. They're not going to stop inflation. That's an unrelenting, irreversible trend line. So, aren't you happy about that, too? Paying triple the price for the meat at the store now and your gasoline and your heating bill. Isn't that great? We're all in it together with Ukraine, guys. How are you enjoying your bills tripling? They're going to raise interest rates now, too, on top of it, and your credit card's going to go up to, 50% APY. How about them apples? You enjoying it? You feeling good about it? They're going to release that UBI soon, too. Ain't that hunky-dory? Puerto Rico's good from a tax advantage standpoint, but man, dude, the grid goes down all the time. The infrastructure sucks, and there's a 100-year hurricane like almost every year. I'll pass. I'll visit, but I don't know, man. Yeah, Biden is like grandpa from The Simpsons, basically. Which is what they wanted. They wanted a grandpa from The Simpsons to take over so that he could kind of be used as a pawn. By the way, I was like watching the moon landing from some of the old footage yesterday. Looks so fake, dude. Have you guys seen this stuff? They literally did an animation of it. It was like from NBC. It was like this fake animation of the landing. And it even says, this is an animation on it. I'm like, they even told you it was an animation. Crazy. Yeah, did you see, I had never seen this, by the way. Did you watch the press briefing of Neil Armstrong and the other astronauts after they returned from the moon? Have you seen this? It looked like they were attending a funeral. Like you would think after landing on the moon, the greatest accomplishment of feat of world history, one small step for man, a giant leap for mankind, you'd be ecstatic. You'd be like, guys, it was amazing. We landed on the moon. I was jumping around there. I could see the earth. It was crazy, bro. No, they looked like they were at an interrogation funeral parlor. I've seen happier people at a funeral than I have Neil Armstrong and those other two dudes returning from the alleged moon landing. Go watch it. It looked like a judicial court hearing more than it did like a celebration. And we haven't been back since, 1971? We've only been back once. But we're going to go to Mars, guys. Yeah. We're going to Mars. It's going to be great. When's the last time we've been back to the moon, Bob? Never. But the Mars thing, yeah. Trust the plan there. Musk is going to take you to Mars, guys. How about that rocket launch? We got a couple. Oh, yeah, they canceled it. The fuselage didn't work. Mars, guys. Yeah, they're going to take you to Mars. No, they're not. No, they're not. Lies. Just go read the book of Genesis. You know, you look at too when they allegedly landed on the moon. That was during the Cold War, okay? This is a heated time where the U.S. had to establish its presence of dominance. So they needed that. They needed to show that to the American people. Dude, I can't even make a phone call to Texas without the cell phone line dropping. And you're telling me without any static or delay that Neil Armstrong was bouncing around in 1969? Hello, NASA base. I'm Neil Armstrong here. I'm bouncing around on the cheese without any disruption. Go watch the historical footage. And by the way, a lot of it's been deleted and lost, according to them. Oh, yeah, they lost it. They don't know where it went. Oh, and they lost the technology. And they just blasted past the Van Allen belt without any issues. Go watch the press debriefing of Neil Armstrong and basically that funeral parlor. These guys look like the most happy. It looked like they were coached for hours on like how to answer the question. There was no excitement. You didn't even get a smile from these guys. Like at one point in the interrogation, I watched this last night, they were like, I forget who they asked. They asked all of them. They were like, what do you think this signifies for the United States and humanity? And like no one even wanted to answer the question. Because they weren't sure if they were like, you know, they had been coached, it looked like. So, I don't know. I always tell my children, you know, unless you've seen something with your own eyes and experience, believe nothing. So for those of you that think we went to the moon or didn't think we went to the moon, it doesn't really matter to me. Here's what I'll tell you. Go to the moon and prove it to yourself. And when you're standing on the moon by yourself, let us know and take a picture and send it to me. And then I still won't believe it though, because unless I'm standing on the moon and I see it with my own eyes, I trust nothing. Nada. Look at how our history has been total bullcrap over the last couple of years. You don't think it was bullcrap 40 years ago? Of course it was. More so, probably. Yeah, I told you that the Fed would do this. They're gonna blink. These are the bailout kings. So we already knew that was gonna happen, dude. It was freaking obvious. Someone's like, 1000X squirrel nuts. The diamond nuts? Yeah, this is a giant matrix test for man. And we are in a simulation. Guess what it is? God. He's the creator. Of course, Earth is a simulation. God designed it. Scientists are like, oh, wow, we see all this code in the universe. Yeah, God created it, dude. What don't you understand? All these things being discovered by scientism are just weak decoding of God's perfect creation. I mean, what do these people want you to believe? They tell you that you came from an ape, that you ate bananas and you farted into a blob called the Big Bang spew. And the blob farted and created intelligent life. But they don't know how it got there before that fart. Yeah. Sure. Don't believe you at all. Sorry. Don't. When's the last time we've been back to the moon? 40, 50 years. Yeah, people need to use their own head. I would say there's only like 2% of us left that actually think for ourselves. It's crazy. Well, heck yeah, the one true God is the Father in heaven. Yeah, we're in the book of Revelation now, that's for sure. Well, yeah, they want you to think you're an ape, you're a monkey, you're a Big Bang fart, and you're insignificant. You're just you're a little piece of sand in a giant beach. It's also they can control you. You're insignificant, you're not special, you're not loved, you're just a number. Take your number, slave. Why do you think they sold you that lie? They don't want you to recognize or realize your real power. I mean, it's like Neo when he takes the red pill. The truth is the truth, or you can go and eat the fake steak, which they're literally introducing now. They're like, oh yeah, this Soylent Green's tasty. Well, I don't know about you, I'm taking down big bucks. Here, I'll show you some of the meat I got. Pretty cool. Just got it the other day. So here's the big buck I took down. Clean, it was clean, 250 yards out. Just got this, got some, I think I got about 50, 100 pounds of it. And I donated a lot of it too to friends and family and the churches. So taking down that one buck, you know, feeds a lot of families here. It's either this or just, you know, go to Whole Foods and make Jeff Bezos richer. But yeah, so I got this, probably use it for like tacos or something or a meatloaf. This here, I got steak. That's from the deer. I've got tenderloin right here. Okay, this should be probably the best part. I'm still going to, what's the word? Tenderize it. So I'll still tenderize this. And then I've got more meat. I got a lot in the fridge. You know, I had about 50, 100 pounds of it. So, you know, instead of going to the grocery store, just take down one of these big overpopulated bucks and you got food for months. That way I don't have to give Jeff Bezos any more money. His yacht's already big enough. See, I say don't let the billionaires buy all the yachts, buy your own. Money's energy, your energy. Human consciousness is actually money. Human consciousness is energy. You have power. Again, ask yourself the question, what if? What if you make your first $1 million this year? What if you make your first $1,000? What if you ask the hot chick out? What if you get a raise at your job? What if you finish the race in first place? People aren't going for first and they don't go for the top. They think little and small and they've got their little precious conditioned minds of which all the institutions tell you you're an ape, insignificant, not loved. And then they blur the lines so you don't have an identity. We know where that goes. And they tell you you're insignificant and not special. So you live a little miserable, depressed, anxious life. And then they put 25% of the population on stuff that ain't good for them. And then we tragically have a bunch of kids dying from fentanyl abuse and stuff. Terrible. Oh, thanks, Jordan. Yeah, my dad's the best. He's an amazing man. Not only is he a very successful businessman, but he's got a huge heart. I wouldn't be the man that I am today. My father, you know, you need good parents. My parents, both of them were awesome, but they gave me tremendous courage. And they also taught me to always believe in myself. And not every kid gets that. So if you didn't get that, I always tell people, you know, have confidence. You can do this. You got to be bold in life. Yep, Jesus come quickly. All right, I'll read a couple more names. Click the link below. No, I don't measure my wealth in dollars. I don't measure my wealth in money, per se. I measure it in skills. I measure it in happiness, joy. I measure it in the terms of purpose, actually, in the things that I'm building. Like I know a lot of wealthy people that don't have to work for the rest of their life. I don't have to work for the rest of my life if I don't want to. But like that to me is gluttony. I know a lot of rich, sad, unhappy people that have no purpose, no cause. That to me is just gluttony and it's a sin, honestly. I'm not saying you can't take a vacation here and there, but if your whole goal in life is just to sit on your ass and do nothing and just drink Mai Tais, like you're just a waste and you're gonna be judged for that. I'd rather build cool stuff. You'll find out people that are rich, right? And the rich, for example, we don't care about the money. We're building stuff. We're excited to be alive. We have a purpose. We're purpose driven. It's not about the money. The money is a byproduct. It's the wind at your back that provides the tools and the resources and the energy to just do cool stuff. They're building blocks. It's the wood that builds the ark. So that's what it's all about. And you know, people need to realize this. Once you understand this, honestly, you'll make more money than you've ever had in your whole life. You also have to be in the right vehicle. there's nothing wrong with hard work, but like if you're a janitor, you're not gonna get rich, dude. But if you got into like real estate or something that was a good vehicle for wealth creation and you put the same amount of work into it, you'll get rich if you're working hard. Working hard doesn't necessarily make you rich if you're in the wrong vehicle. Like if you ain't learning about Bitcoin blockchain, if you're not an island project, it's tough to get rich because you're in the wrong vehicle. If you're sitting in cash at the bank, you're earning zero and you're getting nothing. So you're not going to get rich at the bank. Okay? Again, a lot of people have been conditioned to be in these vehicles that don't benefit you. But that's what they want. Our whole society was built on cubicles over the last 50 years, to throw people into cubicles to go work for the rich. Like what is Bezos doing right now? He exited Amazon, he's just hanging out on his yacht full time, like flying around the world. I see his helicopter fly back and forth all the time. It's a black helicopter, blah, blah, blah. I see it all the time. Like these people work less, they make more money, they enjoy their lives, and it should be you too. Why not? Like it's not about that. I'm not saying worship the world or worship this earth. I'm just saying that they do it. Yeah, so you have to work smart, not hard. AB, I'm already rich. Like people say, like, oh, you're just making Chris rich. I'm already rich. Money is attracted by successful people. Notice how the 0.01%, they're all, you see this in sales too. It's the one dude in the office, he has 95% of the business. There's one real estate agent that has 98% of the listings. There's one attorney that has all the business. This is just how the world works. People are attracted to gravitas, success, and wealth. Most people don't even know how to converse and ask for what they want in life. Like if you can't explain to someone else what you want or what you're selling, don't expect to ever get rich. If you can't even talk about what you want or what you're selling or what you're pitching or what your idea is, you think someone's going to invest in you? Never, dude. You're going to be broke, destitute, and a weakling. You're going to be negative 1000x diamond nuts. Okay, so you got to reverse your psychology. Ladies and gentlemen, you got to be able to explain what you want. Even if you're applying for a job and you're sitting down with an employer, you got to explain your value. If you can't explain your value, you get a big check, cross mark. Same with getting a raise. If you can't explain, I've had a lot of people work for me in the years, great people. I've had others that I look at them and I'm like, dude, you could make $1 million this year if you created more value and showed me the value. There's people that like don't do anything unless you order them to do something. They don't take the bull by the horns. I've had a lot of people like that make good livings, and I'm like, you could 10x your income with me because the sky's the limit if you just had initiative. But a lot of people are lazy. You see what I'm saying? It's like unless you tell them to do something, they won't do it. So I've been fortunate, I've had a lot of great people that I work with and, just 1000x employees and partners and contractors, et cetera. But, I've looked at a couple people and I'm like, man, you suck. And they never last. They just do the bare minimum and then they phase out and then they look back and they're like, oh yeah, I could have been rich. You could have been, but you sucked. And so now you go learn your lesson. Sometimes this plays in with youth. Youth has a big ego and all these kinds of things. And then you have to get beat up and learn the hard way of how the world works. It's very, very unfair. And that's just the truth. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let me read out a couple more names. Click the links up here or down here to get into the Island Project Club. Again, we've only got a few spaces left. Each month, I open up 25 spots. We filled most of them. Make sure you get in, secure your spot. That includes a private 15, 30-minute consult with me. You can register and pre-order big today, right now. Click the button. If I don't know you, I can't cash flow you. I can't talk to you. I can't teach you. And I've had a lot of you actually pitch me your business ideas. I'm even working with some of you guys. I had one dude, he's like, Chris, I'm great with a camera. Let me know how I can help. I'm like, cool, you're hired. So get in And also get my 1000X picks, learn what we're doing on the ground with Island Project and more. Upgrade and get into the private placement if you can. You got to be a member first at the club and or bitcoinrich.com to do that, because it's a private placement and not a public solicitation, and it's not investment advice. That's what you need to do today. So keep it really simple, ladies and gentlemen. Link up here, down here, click, register, get in. I'll see your email come in. I'll shout you out on the next video and I'll give you a buzz. But make sure you get in while you can before it goes away and before crap hits the fan, honestly. I mean, the world's going to go on. It's just going to be very disruptive until the return of Jesus, of course. So, you know, they're transitioning us to a new system. They're going to bankrupt the middle class, wipe out the banks, institute capital controls, a bunch of fear. We're going to have a huge war, probably last decades. I'll probably be an old man. We'll still be fighting World War III. And then it will resolve itself, and they're going to introduce us into this, you know, AI, technological, transhuman world of bull crap, and robots are going to start replacing human beings. Welcome to the future. It's going to suck unless you're building cool stuff like Island Project. What is up? Someone said greetings from Russia. Well, money does matter to a certain extent. I mean, I'll tell you what. I mean, being broke ain't fun. And when you're broke, you can't do anything. And you can't help anyone. So, you know, being broke isn't an advantageous position to be in. So life's a lot easier. Like, look at the last couple years. I mean, life's a lot easier when you got money. People with money, you have freedom. Money's freedom, it's choices. You don't want to get on a commercial jet because they say you can't board, you just grab your private one. I mean, look at the billionaires over the last couple years. The whole world was shut down. They're bouncing around in their space yachts, rubbing it in everyone's face. Hey, look at me, I'm in a space yacht, guys. We hear you're locked in your house right now, but check me out. So money is options. Money is energy, and you can't build stuff, and you can't fight the battle. Like, you think we can go up against Satan without some resources? Of course, our foundation and backbone is faith. All you need is the faith of a mustard seed to move a mountain, but you still need energy. You still need building blocks. You still need wood to build the ark, as Noah did. You still need capital, crypto, and energy and stuff to build the Island Project. You can't just fart it out of your butt. You need a lot of capital, and you need a lot of it. I mean, this is just how the world works. Like, again, so many of you are in this defeatist attitude of nonsense, and you go nowhere. I guarantee in that attitude and defeatist mindset, you'll be in the exact same spot or worse a year from now and another year from now. It's because of you. You're the problem. You know, if you've got a lot of problems in your life, you got to look yourself in the mirror and just be like, I suck. Because that's the hardcore truth. The difference between a real man or a real woman is you never give up, you innovate, you pivot, you reinvent yourself, and you always fight back. And you always ask the question, what if? And you keep in the pursuit of your goals against all adversity. Okay, but most people are literally, they're very mentally weak. We got to change this mindset in society. I mean, this is why my school is so powerful. This is why Bitcoin Rich has made people millions and millions of dollars. This is why Island Project's $1 billion blockchain. It's why we're destroying it here in Maui and Oahu right now. It's because people need to revert out of this poverty-stricken, conditioned mindset. And this is why people suck and they're weak. So get out of that. College don't guarantee crap. The only thing it guarantees is debt. Most of the most successful people in the world and the wealthiest are dropouts for a reason, because you don't need school to innovate, build a business. It doesn't matter the color of your skin or who you are or who your parents were. No one cares, guys. So you got to get out of this mindset trap. Technology does not care if you're black, white, Jew, Islamic, Buddhist, Christian, female, male. It doesn't care. If you've got a good idea, you're rich. So if you're not and your life sucks and you don't like your life, take a good hard look in the mirror and go, I suck and need to change something. And then click the link below and join us at the club and school and improve your freaking life. Or don't. Or sit on your ass and be a dime a dozen loser. And there's a lot of people like that. I want you to revert out of that. See, I need you guys. You guys aren't helpful to me. You can't help us build freedom and liberty around the world if you're in a reverted mind suck. Then you just suck for the world. You're a part of that negative sucking energy. The big sound of a down. That's where Satan wants you. He wants you depressed. He wants you anxious. He wants you doing what everyone else is doing. He wants you in the wrong vehicle. He wants to deceive you. He wants to grab at your heart. He doesn't want you disciplined. He doesn't want you in the Word. He wants you a sinner. He's going to test you. Get out of it. Get out of it. Have the discipline in your own life to live the life that you want to live. Diamond nuts, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, the proof is in the pudding. Actions speak louder than words. People are like, well, Christopher, and people say this about me all the time. They're like, I remember, Chris, when you were in a basement. Now I'm hanging out in a $6.5 million mansion, living my dream down by the beach, building billion-dollar projects, launching my own crypto. I mean, actions speak louder than words. Like, am I fat? No, I'm ripped. I'm physically equipped, mentally equipped, spiritually equipped, cash flow equipped, business equipped. Actions speak louder than words. I ain't selling you health supplements, 100 pounds overweight, right? So again, never take advice from people that aren't living what they actually say they're going to do. I mean, for those of you who've been following me for 15 years, one common theme you'll notice is, number one, I never give up, and I'm the most persistent bastard that there is, and I always ask for what I want, and I get it too. You got to think that way. And again, there's no competition, because most people are weak. The second it gets tough, guys like me stomp over you. When it gets tough, I enjoy it. I smile when things get tough. When the sweat's beating down my brow, when I'm on my 10-mile hike, climbing a freaking mountain, I want to quit, and my body's shutting down. I go, bring it, baby. Bring it. What if I conquer this mountain today? See, that's the attitude. Most people quit right before they strike it rich. They're hanging out there, they're picking the mine, they're right next to the diamond mine, and then they give up. That's most people. When things get tough, when things get hard, bring it. Bring it. Because it gets rid of the competition. Because 99.99% of the population is weak, and they'll give up. But the winners never give up. They pursue. I don't care if I'm down on my knees, climbing, crawling, an inch at a time. I'm still moving, baby. You got to think that way. You got to think that way. Don't let them control you, ladies and gentlemen. How do you like your tax dollars going to the Ukraine fight? A non-NATO country, 70 plus billion. I don't like it. I don't support it. I pray for Ukraine, but I don't stand with them at all. I stand with America. That's where I stand. I don't support Russia. I don't defend Russia. I don't defend Putin. I say, get out of there. Defend America. Yeah, you don't have to be rich to be successful, of course. You do if you're building stuff. You know, I mean, if you're building stuff, and, you know, I've always said, too, we're the Christian billionaires. Well, you're looking at one of the first Christian billionaires in the world. So, I mean, somebody's got to do it, guys, because it's looking weak. If you look around, one of the reasons why freedom keeps getting destroyed, because it's weak. There's not enough of us. See, I need to make all you rich. I need to make all of you super rich. We need more of us. You see what I'm saying? We'll dictate the terms moving forward instead of these people. Who put these people in charge? I didn't. We're in charge. It's just like the media and social media. It takes billions of dollars to build an alternative platform, guys. Billions. You're not going to do it with $2 million. You need billions to compete with Fox, CNN, MSNBC, build infrastructure and all that kind of stuff. You need payment processors, hosting providers, technologists, website coders, innovators. It's a multi-billion dollar feat. And people are like, why does the media suck so bad? Because there's not enough billionaire ballers out there. fighting back. It's a bunch of weaklings in this little defeatist cycle of woe is me, woe is me. That's why you're getting dominated, and it's why your life sucks. I'm not better or smarter, but actions speak louder than words. Honestly, you don't have to be the smartest tool in the shed to be successful. You got to have an appropriate mindset for success and stop being weak. Dude, I've got a lot of friends. I love them, to death. But they've been waiting to start their new business idea their whole life. They're like approaching 50. They're not going to be around much longer. Like, I know tons of people like that. I have this idea, I want to do this. And then they live a life in defeat. In this pathetic defeat mode of, I just didn't achieve anything. It does nothing for your self-love or pride or your ability to be a man or a woman. It does nothing to boost your self-confidence. It makes you just a weak, destitute, pathetic waste. And I don't know about you, if you come through the pearly gates and I was looking at someone like that, I'd be like, you're a waste. I gave you all these tools, all these resources, and because you're scared, you wasted your whole life. And that's like most of people. They think they're playing a game of Super Mario Brothers or something, and they're going to press the repeat button. You're wasting your life, bro. You should go bigger, bigger. Take more risks. Take more risks. Guys like me are always going for the grand slams. I ain't going for base hits. I'll hit base hits to get to the grand slam, of course, but I'm going to win 1000x. I'm going at it to dominate my competition. I'm going at it to become the monopoly. You see what I'm saying? Just like Bezos and all these other guys. They're sharks, dude. Be a shark. Don't take the bait of this world. Be the spiritual warrior. Be the Navy SEAL. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I love you. God bless. Jesus Christ is King. Links up here and down here. I'd love to see you at school. Get into the club. I'll keep you posted, guys, but it is getting hot, and I expect a major event soon. I expect, again, Putin will show a very large sign of force, probably in some kind of test event very soon. So trust the plan. Ladies and gentlemen, again, we've been warning about this for years, and the Fed is now reversing course. They're going to start the bailouts once again. And they'll start cutting rates probably at some point after it's obvious that we're in a depression. They were lying about transitory inflation, just like they're lying about quantitative tightening. And just like they're lying about everything else. So either prepare now and get rich or don't. Either change your mindset, 1000x yourself, or don't. Either join us at school and learn new skills and join a tokenized community and get into the island project, 1000x potentially, or don't. Or be weak, destitute, get your hands out and get on your knees. And you beg for that UBI. Beg them for that extra $1,000 a month so you can buy Soylent Green as they eradicate meat and all the good stuff and basically just keep it for the rich. I mean, that's what's going to happen, guys. This is the truth. It's hardcore. And yeah, up here, down here. I'll see you soon. God bless.